Hi, my name is Laila Lalami, and I'm a Moroccan novelist and essayist and professor based in Los Angeles.
Can we talk about AI storytelling and pedagogy?
Sure. So I teach creative writing at the University of California, Riverside. And one of the things that we've been seeing a lot of is students being interested to use AI in their storytelling. And one of the things that we focus on in the classroom is to actually encourage creativity independent of AI, to use AI to limit the use of AI, to do things like research, looking up sources, checking on a particular historical detail or a detail about the world, but to focus on their imaginative qualities and their imagination in general to write the stories.
So, critical thinking, AI, and how we could be thinking around storytelling to be able to enable learners to engage and learn rather than just using AI without thinking, because so many people use AI without thinking.
Yeah. I think one of the challenges right now in the creative writing classroom with AI is that AI offers students the chance to get answers. So, for example, they go to ChatGPT and they ask a question and they get an answer. And I think that pedagogically, that's not necessarily the best approach for them to learn because it doesn't teach them trial and error. It doesn't teach them that it's okay to be wrong. There is a kind of pleasure in being wrong because when you are wrong about something, then you remember the solution to that problem that you encountered. You remember why you were wrong about it and what the right way was to approach it. And so there's a kind of memory retention, there's a learning process that takes place, and so you take something from it. But asking a chatbot a question and getting an answer habituates students to just getting the answers to things, and I think that that's one of the challenges for critical thinking that our students face. So one of the things that I do in my classrooms is to try to limit the use of devices in general, not just AI, but also laptops and cell phones, and encourage students to just face a text, a book, a novel, a small piece of nonfiction, and get them to think and get them to write about it independently of this technology.
And from lessons from that, or thinking around critical thinking, how can we be thinking around use of AI, but also thinking around people being able to learn to be wrong, to fail, to experience, and thinking of that with storytelling maybe around edtech design and AI, around what we could do to be able to move that forward for pedagogy, for people to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just want to be clear, I'm not against using technology in the classroom. I think there's great value to using it, particularly, for example, just to give you an example, I use a VPN to connect from my home to the library on campus, and I can look up sources from my home without having to travel the large distance between my home and the campus, and technology makes that possible. So there are certain uses of technology that I welcome in my life. What I think is really critical with students is to teach them to think critically about things and not to go to an AI for an answer. I think especially with writing, I think it might be a mistake to think of writing as something that can be made more efficient. Writing is not necessarily something that gets better by being more efficient. Writing is something that gets better when you draft, you think, you go back and revise, you think, you go back and revise. There is a certain process to it, a certain craft to it, and that craft is in fact the opposite of efficiency. It's the opposite of efficiency. It's actually something that allows you to get deeper to your subconscious, your intuition, your way of thinking in order to improve the writing. And I think that one of the dangers of AI is this continual promise of things becoming more efficient. Efficiency is not necessarily the best thing.